For 30 years, one word has followed this country into every headline it has ever earned. That word is not a lie. It is a curtain. Before Rome had its first republic, people here were building skyscrapers out of mud. Before Europe printed its first book, monks were hiding sacred manuscripts inside the walls of a mosque older than most religions practiced today. And a queen, whose legend reached the throne of Solomon, ruled an empire from sands that still remember her name. This is not a story about a war. It is the story of what was here long before the war began, and what is still standing underneath it. This is Yemen. And deep inside its most isolated island, explorers once found something so strange. Local legend swore it was a gateway to hell. They were wrong. What they found instead was older and far more astonishing. Every week, I go inside a country the world thought it already understood, and find the hidden world that was actually there. One cinematic 4K documentary, one real story at a time. Subscribe, and I will take you with me every time. This cinematic documentary goes past every version of Yemen you have been shown, into a city that has been breathing, unbroken, since before this was even called the Arabian Peninsula. At over 7,000 feet above sea level, Sana'a rises like something baked rather than built. Ochre towers laced in white gypsum, stacked 5 and 6 stories high. Inside one mosque here, built, tradition says, during the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad himself, something was found in 1972 that startled historians worldwide. Hidden inside the walls, manuscripts, fragments of Quranic text, among the oldest ever recovered, sealed away by hands that wanted them to survive whatever came next. They did, for nearly 1,400 years. Most people who hear the word Yemen have never once heard the word Sana'a, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth. Tell me in the comments, had you ever heard the name Sana'a before this moment? Because most people who watch this tell me the same thing. They had no idea it existed. But Sana'a is not even the strangest thing this country built. Deep in the Hadramaut Desert stands Shibam, a city of mud towers reaching 8, sometimes 11 stories into the sky. Built more than 500 years ago from nothing but clay, straw, and water, left to dry under a sun that shows no mercy. No steel, no concrete. No modern engineer ever signed off on a single wall. And yet, these towers have outlasted empires that were built from stone. Historians call it the world's oldest example of vertical city planning. The locals just call it home. The world nicknamed it the Manhattan of the Desert, except this Manhattan was finished 600 years before. The real one had its first skyscraper. But the strangest building in this story is not even inside the city. Further into the cliffs, a village called Haid al-Jazil clings to a single rock pillar rising straight out of the valley floor. Rooftops stacked like something grown from the rock, not built on top of it. No road leads there, no visible way heap. Families still mix mud with their bare hands, the way their great-grandparents did, because a wall left unrepaired for one rainy season can mean the whole house disappears. If a 500-year-old mud building defying gravity stopped you, the way it stopped me the first time I found it, that is exactly the kind of light that tells this platform hidden stories deserve to reach more than just the algorithm's afterthought. 3,000 years before any of this, near a town called Marib, a queen built something the ancient world had never seen. According to the texts and the legends both, this was the seat of the kingdom of Sheba, a civilization that grew rich not from conquest, but from incense. Frankincense and myrrh, carried by camel caravan, traded for gold across 3 continents, while most of the ancient world was still working out how to count its own people. Her engineers built a dam nearly 600 meters long, turning seasonal floodwater into an irrigation system that fed a kingdom for over 1,000 years. Its later collapse was significant enough to be recorded in religious scripture, an entire migration, an entire chapter of Arabian history, traced back to one broken wall of earth. Empires this old rarely leave anything standing. This one left 7 things. Today, the 7 pillars of its temple still stand half buried in the sand, like the ribs of something too vast to ever fully bury. This is also a country that has not known peace for over a decade now. That part is real, and it deserves to be said honestly, not hidden behind postcard footage. But it is only one chapter in a story written across 3,000 years. And the rest of that story is still standing. Drop a comment. What has surprised you the most so far? The answers are usually the same 3 things, and I want to know if you found them too. And then there is the part of Yemen that barely feels like Earth at all. 150 miles off the southern coast lies Socotra, an island isolated for so many millions of years that more than 1/3 of everything growing on it exists nowhere else on the planet. Scientists call it the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean. Its dragon's blood trees spread their canopies upside down, like umbrellas built to drink fog instead of rain. Because on this island, that is the only water there is. And inland, in a region called Al-Mahra, there is a hole in the ground that local legend swore for centuries was a prison for evil spirits. So feared, nobody climbed down into it for 1,000 years, until a team of cave explorers finally did, descending over 100 meters on rope, deeper than a 30-story building is tall. What they found was not demons. It was cave pearls. Limestone formed smooth over centuries, fresh water trickling down ancient stone, and a smell that turned out to be nothing more sinister than the bones of animals that had fallen in over time. Off the coast, fishermen still read the sea by something simpler. When dolphins appear beside their boats at dawn, they take it as a blessing, a sign the nets will come back full. This is not the Yemen the headlines gave you. This is the Yemen that built mud towers 6 centuries before steel ones existed. The Yemen that hid sacred pages inside its own walls to outlive whatever came next. The Yemen whose queen funded an empire on nothing but the scent of frankincense, and whose island looks less like this planet than almost anywhere else on it. The world gave you a word. War. What was standing behind that word the entire time was this. Picture it now. Dusk over Shibam. The mud towers turning the color of fire as the call to prayer drifts between them, the way it has every evening for 500 years. And somewhere past the cliffs, a fisherman watches dolphins circle his boat, taking it as a sign that tonight, the sea will be kind. There is another country waiting, buried under its own headline, holding a civilization nobody ever told you about. subscribe. And next week, I will take you inside it.